I was telling Julie, like, there's no body memory here. Like, there is no, like, I didn't do anything through high school, university, or anything. And I just got to a point where, like, I realized I had to do something. And so I was actually in San Francisco with my cousin, and she started Googling. She's like, hey, there's this thing called the Running Room. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I've seen that, you know. And I'm like, running, really? And so, yeah, but anyway, I thought, you know what, why not try it? Like, I had seen it, so I signed up. And I was so nervous, oh my god, signing up, and you get that email where it says, I know you might be nervous, like when you sign up for the clinic and when you first join, and like come, and I was like, oh my god, like what am I doing? And so I was, and I came in like all the wrong clothes, like I had a big sweatshirt, and which I later learned, you know, in the clinics that no, cotton is rotten and don't wear all that, but I didn't know, and I came out, and yeah, and I still didn't hate, like I still hated it, but I did it, and I just go back to, like, you know, I always say I remember, and to this day I still think that running those, I remember going from 1s and 2s to 1 and 1 to 2s and 1s to 3s and 1s, and you're at 4s and 1s now, yeah. That was, I still say that was harder for me than almost running the marathon, like, it really was. It was such a huge, from going from nothing to doubling your time and going out, it was huge, and so, did all that, ran my first race at the Distillery District, it was in the Distillery District, it was the Resolution Run, so that was my first 5K, and did it by myself, because our clinic had ended a little early, and all these people were like doing all these warm-ups, and I'd never done a race, I didn't know, and I was like, what are they doing? And I'm like, I need to be doing something, so I literally started doing this, and like, which you shouldn't do, like, and I'm like, I just started doing this to look like a runner, and I'm like, so, but yeah, it was, oh my god, but I did it, and
so when was that?
That was December 07. December 07.
Do you know how long it took you, the 5K?
It took me, yeah, I'll show you, I have all my bibs, it took me 37 minutes for that one.
That's pretty good.
Good.
So, it took me 37, the first, we did a mock 5K in my, do you guys have a goal race at the end? Or?
Yeah.
The women's only 5K in Sunnybrook.
Oh, nice, yeah, so we didn't have one for some reason, so our instructor did a mock 5K, that took me like 38, 39 minutes I think, so, and then I went to 37 minutes, but then I stopped, because I'm like, I'm not running through the winter, so, like, and like, it just, you know, I guess the next thing is like that lack of commitment, because our clinic night was on a Wednesday, and I wouldn't do Sunday runs, because I'm like, I'm not going out Saturday night, so I didn't do Sunday runs. I know this is, and Julie's like, no, but I'm like, this is where I was at, like, so I did basically 1 run a week, and even that, like, I would drive down, and I'd be like, no parking, I tried, and, you know, not my fault. Yeah, this is where I was. So I'd be like, I tried to run, like, universe is against me, so, but not my fault, so, you know, I'd go home and eat and, like, you know, do something, so. The other part I should mention is that I actually live at Lawrence and Allen. I signed up for this one because I thought it was going to be 10 weeks of my life. Like, I thought this was a 10-week thing, and I did it, and I didn't know, like, now I'm actually looking to move back in the East End. I didn't know how much of a part of my life it would become. But yeah, that lack of commitment and that fear, and so I like was in Learn to Run, and then I stopped running, and then learned to run, and then I did 5K, and then learned to run, and then 5K, and I wish there was a record. I'd love to know how many times I did it, but then I stayed in 5K, and that's kind of where I got stuck. So then I realized I could run through the winter, and I could, so I 5K, and my brother was the one who kind of was inching me. He's like, Maureen, like, this is a mental thing. Like, you can do 5K. Like, why don't you join the 10K clinic? I was like, no, I can't join the 10K clinic. No. And so it just, yeah, it was interesting. So I reached this point where I realized, okay, I need to commit. So I committed to losing weight. I joined Jenny Craig. I committed to running. I should show you actually. I found a picture.
I've heard about this transformation, but I've never seen it.
You never, yeah. Well, this was me when I.
Whoa.
Yeah.
It's not even the same person. Wow.
I know.
Oh, good for you.
So that was me, yeah. So that's where I wasn't committed. That's why I'm really am the poster child for like running, yeah. So and I'm like, I have to commit to this, and I did. That was January. So I had my whole moment, like end of December, 09. And January 5th, 2010, I joined Jenny, I joined the 5K clinic, that was the last 5 clinic I did.
That's only a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I did the
Incredible.
5K January, February, moved into my brother, and Matt was an instructor here who was good, and he sort of gave me that confidence too. He's like, you know, you really can do it. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And like I was really focused. I joined the 10K, and the moment that changed my life for running was so Kerry is the 10K instructor. He was my 10K instructor, and he does it now too. And he was awesome. And he sent this email, and we were running to the Don Roadway. And do you know where the Don Roadway is? Like it's like
Yeah.
the path where you go up on the DVP.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I got that email, like, and I didn't sleep for 3 nights before that email. I'm like, you drive downtown, you don't run downtown. Like, I had never been past Leslie, like, we would do, and that was a long run, like, to Leslie and back, right? And so the
Wow.
Canadian Tire, and that was kind of my zone. And then you want me to run to the Don Roadway and back? Like, I almost didn't show up, I was so nervous. And, but I did. I was like, Harry, I'm really nervous. He's like, he'll be fine. And so ran out, and I just remember getting there, and that was that is just seared in my head because I was like, you don't die. Like you just you put one foot in front of the other, and you get there, and you come back, and like I knew, and I'm like, I have this. Like, and that was the watershed moment, and I'm like, I'm never gonna be afraid of. You know, I do get fearful of longer distances, but I'm like, it was just, I knew I could do it. If I could do that, I could do it. And so I didn't look back, but I still had fear because then I should have moved into the half clinic after that, but I didn't. I was like, no, I can't. I repeated 5K like 10 times. Like, I can't just do 10K once and go to the half. Like, and then, you know, so I did. In hindsight, I should have moved right into the half, but because there's a time difference between the 5 and the Learn to Run 5 and 10 is about 10 weeks, but the half and the full go on to like 18 weeks, is it? 16 to 18 weeks, yeah. So I didn't realize that, so I kind of got caught repeating the 10K more than, but it gave me the confidence, and by the end of repeating 10K several times, I wasn't afraid to. In fact, not only was I not afraid to join the half, I ran my own half before I even joined the half. So 2010, I did my very first 10K. 15K, the Midsummer's 15K, and I did the Good Life used to be in the fall, and I did the Good Life half. And so, and I just thought, and the key too for me was giving myself permission to fail, because, you know, I was just like, okay, like I could do 10K, why not sign up for a 15K race? Like, and in the 10K, you get up to about 12K, so I'm like, what's another 3K? If I walk it, I know I can run 12. So I just did it, and then I'm like, I did 15. So you get this voice, I did 15. What's another 6.1? You know, like, again, like if I know I can do 15, so I know I can do probably 16, 17, and if I need to walk the last 3, 4, then I do. Like, you know, it doesn't matter. So I joined that race by myself again, and a colleague of mine.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Like, I'm a person who needs to run with other people to get like motivation from them, so they tell me it's okay, even though I always say shut up. I need somebody else there to so when I say nasty things, they can hear it, right? That's the kind of person I am. So I don't know how you
Yeah, it does,
by yourself.
Yeah,
Misery.
I have like 2, I both, it's interesting because the running room actually is great for me because I need the social part to get me out. Like, sometimes the only thing that gets me out is knowing there's a Starbucks at the end of the run, or like a pint at the pub or something. Like, some days that's what gets me out. But I do need to, like, when I run, I kind of, I know the talk test and you're supposed to, I know all that, but I kind of need to zone out a little bit too when I run. So I don't mind, but I need to know that there's other people doing this with me, like, you know, but, so yeah, I did it by myself, and I had no idea how to pace a half marathon. I'm like, I don't know what that looks like. So I started out slow, and I just, you know, went, and it wasn't about time, it was a personal, I'd never run that distance before, so I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. Like, my goal was to finish, and my time was 2:16. So
That was your first half time?
yeah. It's like, I didn't know what you know, I didn't know.
I trained for mine and I did 2:24.
So, yeah, but it was neat. And you turn up university, and I was like, I have this, like, again, and I felt good, and so I was able to pick it up. And they do say, like, you should start really slow and then pick up, and so then that's when you pass people, and you start to feel really good. You're like, oh, you know, I had all this energy, and it was neat. There's a man, Jose, who also helps our clinic, and I didn't know
He's
him.
already hit on half of
Oh, you know Jose? Okay, yeah. So Jose, like, I knew his face, but I didn't know him because he helps out with the half clinic. mostly, and I hadn't started the half clinic yet. And anyway, the next time I was in the running room, he stopped me, and like I said, he knew my face too, and he's like, I just have to tell you, he's like, I saw you at the finish line, and he's like, you were so strong, like you finished really, really strong, and you look great, and I was just like beaming. I was like, here's like, one of the, you can tell he's a runner, and like all this, and I was just like, wow, so that was great. And then I joined the half clinic, and I thought, well, I've already done a half, so now my goal has to be 30. So my goal was 30 for around the Bay last year, and I ran so 2010 I did first 10, 15 and half, and 2011 I did my first 30 and marathon. And I had no delusions. Even when I joined the half, I'm like, I'm not doing a marathon. That's crazy. Who does marathons? Like, that's just wrong. I'm like, it's not healthy for you. And like, I had all these excuses. Like, I'm like, no, it's just wrong. And but then it's just this little voice, you keep, and you're just like, okay, it's good to have goals too, right? And so I did the 30, and then I'm like, what is another 12? Again, if I need to walk, I walk. And so it was weird. That was January, and I hadn't even run the 30 yet, and the 30 was in March. But 3 different people in my life mentioned the Chicago Marathon. Oh, I should mention my first marathon was the Chicago Marathon. And so 3 people kind of mentioned it, and I'm like, it's a sign. And the last person was a colleague, and I'm like, she mentioned it, I'm like, yep, I ran to my desk and I registered. And then I said, what the hell did I just do? And I'm like, I just threw away $200, like, and I freaked out. But, but I just knew, I literally have a beeline for the computer. And I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm never going to do it. Like, you'll always have excuses. And I'm like, oh, I'm not ready, I need to,
Yeah, you hadn't, hang on a second. Registration opened February 2011 for October. You hadn't even run the 30K.
No, I hadn't run.
Oh my God.
And I registered for the Chicago Marathon, which is one of the top 5, I think. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just kind of, I just had to throw myself into it. So I registered, and then I kind of need the fear of God in me too to come, like So I thought, okay, well, this will do it. Knowing I have to do this marathon, and so I didn't know what 30 looked like. The longest I'd run at that point was 21, the half. And so I did the Run the Bay, and thank God that went well. If that was a disaster last year, I don't know what I would have done. But and then I started my training for the marathon in June.